welcome to Bangladesh Today. I am Avneet Arora. The horrific clothing factory collapse which killed more than 400 people in Savar near Dhaka has shocked the world as it grapples with immediate concerns like bringing the guilty to book, compensation for the families of victims, corporate responsibility and revamping standard operating procedures regarding safety standards. At May Day parades in Dhaka, workers demanded the death penalty for Mohammad Rana, owner of the 8-story Rana Plaza building in Savar, a town on the outskirts of Dhaka. Its collapse resulted in the death of over 400 people. Angry protesters clashed with the police, shouting slogans and venting their anger at the administration. The police had to fire in the air to disperse the agitating crowd. Labour unions say that multinational companies take advantage of Bangladesh's poor health and labour standards and encourage corrupt practices to keep down costs and increase profits. Labour leader Amirul Haq said that it was a tragic moment for workers in Bangladesh and that the culprits should be given the harshest punishment so that it would serve as a lesson.
We are actually celebrating this May Day with sorrow because just few days ago in a building collapse on which there was 5 factories, we actually lost 400 garment workers, and already some of the owners arrested. We demand the other owner and other responsible people also should be arrested, and there will be the example punishment of these factory owners as well as the building owners.
The disaster has once again brought Bangladesh's 4,500 factory-strong garment industry into international focus. In general, the wages here are measly and working conditions and safety regulations are much below the international norms. Rescue officials have said that they've given up hope of finding more survivors from the Rana complex garment factory, even as the Sheikh Hasina government came under pressure to do more to implement strict building safety standards.
April সাভারে ভবন ধসে যে শ্রমিক হত্যা করা হয়েছে এর প্রতিবাদে আমরা সেই খুনি মালিককে সর্বোচ্চ শাস্তি চাই, অর্থাৎ ফাঁসি চাই, এবং আহত শ্রমিক যারা পঙ্গু যারা হয়েছেন তাদের সবাইকে পুনর্বাসন করতে হবে। নিহত শ্রমিক যারা হয়েছে তাদের প্রত্যেককে এক জীবনের সমপরিমাণ ক্ষতিপূরণ দিতে হবে এবং গার্মেন্ট কারখানায় একটি স্বাস্থ্যকর, নিরাপদ এবং মানবিক কর্মপরিবেশ গড়ে তুলতে হবে।
Prime Minister Hasina visited the accident site and had talked to the victims and even sounded a warning to Western manufacturers that they need to ensure basic safety standards if they want to do business in the country. At the Vatican during Sunday Mass, Pope Francis appealed to Bangladeshi authorities to show special care in the aftermath of what he called the country's worst industrial accident.
In questo momento, un momento speciale, desidero elevare una preghiera per le numerose vittime causate dal tragico crollo di una fabbrica in Bangladesh. Esprimo la mia solidarietà e profonda vicinanza alle famiglie che piangano i loro cari e rivolgo dal profondo del cuore un forte appello affinché sia sempre tutelata la dignità e la sicurezza del lavoratore.
The terrible disaster also drew support from political parties in India. Senior leaders of the Communist Party of India Marxists, Sitaram Yechuri and Muhammad Salim, have slammed the Western retailers for the inhumane working conditions of people who work in these garment factories.
Well, today is the May Day, International Working Class Day, and in that context, if you look at this recent accident of Bangladesh, more than 400 died. I mean, this building was existing in violation of all laws that are currently operative in Bangladesh, and it actually has been functioning like a sweatshop where you produce things cheaply for multinationals to make their profits. And in Bangladesh, there's a mushrooming of such sweatshops that's happening, whether it's in garments or whether it's in leather, I mean, all sorts of things, and which is most unfortunate. It's a clear case of violation of basic human rights, leave alone the rights of the working class and the workers. And I think May Day is a right occasion to redouble the resolve that such violation of law cannot be either ignored or those guilty cannot go unpunished.
On the one side, the question of illegal construction or faulty construction and irresponsibility. But on the other hand, this is a classic case of how the Western world who boost for environment, people, human rights, and on the other hand to source cheaper garments or any other materials in a competitive world and to maximize its own profit. So the sharks sitting in the West, to maximize their own profits, they do behave in this third world like this only. They are not concerned about the health, environment, and the protection and the security and safety of the workers. And that's how the cutthroat competition leads to such menace, where the construction, the quality of the construction of the building, the condition of the factory, the condition of the workers, their safety, their security, their social security, all these are neglected and jeopardized. So on the one hand, it's a question of those who are involved in Bangladesh for the death of such a huge number of population, and the poorest of the poor, laborers and workers in the factory. On the other hand, the persons sitting in the companies and the labels who do business and make profit do not try to part away a part of their profit so that the conditions can be improved. So you just cannot blame the factory owners there or the building owners there. You have to blame the real culprits who are compelling such situation to maximize their own profits.
Meanwhile, the European Union has taken strong note of the labour conditions in Bangladesh and has said in a statement that it was considering action to promote improvements, including the use of its trade preference system. As of now, two of the retailers, Britain's Primark and Canadian retailer Joe Fresh, have promised to reimburse the families of the victims. Walmart and JCPenney are joining talks in Germany with companies, labour unions and non-governmental groups for Bangladesh's National Action Plan and for supplier assessments of fire and building risk. Eric Dernbach of the International Labour Rights Forum Board has commended the measures taken by some corporates in coming to the aid of families of victims.
Well, I mean, for one thing, the prices of the garments are not going to rise at all. I think estimates have shown that it costs like a dime per garment to actually fund a decent program in Bangladesh. So if Joe Fresh and other companies are coming forward with reparations for the workers, that's great. You know, maybe they'll take it out of their own profits. Maybe they'll raise their prices for their products slightly. People in the U.S. are not going to notice higher prices, or if they will, it'll go up by a nickel or by a dime. But I think what it does is it sends a message that companies need to come forward and take some responsibility for the problems, really, that they are creating by going to Bangladesh and finding the cheapest labor in the world to make their product. Well, it remains to be seen. There needs to be more pressure on the companies. I mean, look, you know, Bangladesh is the second largest producer and exporter of apparel in the world after China. And the reason is it has the lowest wages and the lowest labor costs. So every American apparel company Companies like the Gap, Walmart, etc., all produce in Bangladesh. And none of them are doing anything to address the problems of unsafe factories and bad working conditions and poverty level wages in Bangladesh. They need to come forward. They need to join this effort to work on a real solution to the problems of Bangladesh. So we need more consumer pressure, and we need folks that are concerned about this issue to tell the companies that we're concerned about this.
For a long time, Western apparel buyers had depended almost entirely on China to source their products. But labour shortages and escalating wage pressures encouraged them to explore elsewhere, and now Bangladesh has become a key player in the market. Bangladesh's garment industry, which accounts for 80% of the country's $24 billion annual exports, has become the foundation of an economy that was once dependent on aid. But the low wages and the substandard safety conditions remain a problem among many of the country's apparel factories. In other news, Bangladeshi businessmen have expressed their dismay at the relentless and the countless strikes and hartals in the country. They say such moves will have a crippling effect on the economy. President of the Bangladesh Garment Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Mohammad Atiqul Islam, appealed the government to take quick decisions to finally resolve this continuous crisis of unrest.
The general strike is really causing the big factor for this country and especially for this garments industry. So today's press briefing, we urge to the government and the opposition leaders to solve this problem as soon as possible and relieve us for this kind of general strike.
The business community maintains that the country may have missed nearly $3 billion worth of potential new business in ready-made garment sector this year, as buyers have shifted to other potential markets like Vietnam. Shipments of goods had been disrupted because of the strikes, forcing threats by foreign buyers to cancel orders. The conflict kick-started in February when a tribunal set up by the government to investigate crimes during Bangladesh's liberation war of 1971 sentenced senior leaders of the Islamic Jamaat-e-Islami party. Chair Professor of the Institute of Bank Management of Bangladesh, Ibrahim Khalid, said that Jamaat-e-Islami and its student wing Islamic Chhatra Shibir is harmful for the development of the country and they should be banned.
It's a strong and genuine demand because Jamaat-e-Islami or Islamic Chhatra Shibir, these are not Islamic organizations. They have used the name Islam for the purpose of brutality. In 1971, during our liberation war, we have seen them killing persons, raping women and whatnot. So, in the garb of Islam, they have no Islamic ideology. They have created a terror in this country. So, that is why I strongly feel that this organization should not exist in a free country, in a democratic country. In our constitution, everybody has a right to form party, to have political organization. It's true. But this is an organization which worked against the independence of this country. So, they have betrayed the nation, they have betrayed the country. In my opinion, Bangladesh was created through armed struggle, through a war. It's a revolution. So, the anti-revolutionary forces, particularly who has directly worked against, who has waged a war against us, have no right to exist in the country. So, and lately the government has passed a law where a person can be tried for waging war against Bangladesh or killing for atrocity during liberation war. At the same time, an organization can also be sued for the same offense. So, I think government can sue them in the court, and if the court verdict goes against against the party and in favor of the government, they have every right, because they have opposed the birth of the country. They have no right to exist in the country. So that is why or how they can be banned.
The Jamaat-e-Islami wreaked havoc across the country and called for strike after strike along with the support of the opposition BNP, hence paralysing business centres across the nation. If these strikes and violent demonstrations persist, it could endanger the country's aim of emerging as a middle-income country by 2021, which is its golden jubilee of independence year. That's all we have for you in Bangladesh Today this week. Thank you for watching.